Welcome to the DevOps Coach. My name is Kastro. I'm an AWS and DevOps trainer. In the last video, we have understood what is meant by Agile Development Model and what is meant by Scrum Model. In this video, we are going to talk about two concepts, which is the Kanban model and the second one is bottlenecks. So first, let us understand the Kanban model. But before talking about the Kanban model, let us look into a scenario that helps us to understand the Kanban model. The scenario is, let's say a murder had happened and you are the police officer who is allotted to investigate the murder. Now, as a part of your investigation, the first thing that you do is you are going to collect the clues. Once you collect the clues, you're going to keep all the clues on a board, and that board is very much important for you to track down the different aspects of the case. This is something that we most commonly see in the movies and also in the real time one. So, what is the use of this board? The use of this board is to track down the case that has come up to you. Now, let us apply the same principle to understand the Kanban model. Let's say a project has come to a company. Now, as soon as a project comes to the company, you are not allowed to start the work immediately. So what we need to do, we need to plan the project, how to start the project, how to execute it, and how to deploy that project. So basically, in a Kanban model, any project will be divided into three different categories. The first category is called as a to-do category. The second category is called as in progress category. And the third category is called as done category. Now, what will be there in each one of these categories? In to-do category, we are going to list out what are the tasks that we need to do on daily basis. That's called as to-do category. And in progress category, we are going to keep what is the current status of the project and what the team members are working in that particular project. And in the done category, we are going to keep what are the tasks that we have completed so far in the project. Now, to represent these three categories, we are going to use a cards, and those cards are called as Kanban cards. So that's something like a sticky notes representing the status of the work in all these categories. And the board that we are going to use is called as Kanban board. The cards that we are using are the cards that we are placing in the Kanban board is called as Kanban cards. Kanban is basically adopted from Japanese word which represents the visual signal. Kanban is actually a framework that is used to implement the agile and DevOps software development process. One thing that we need to understand is Kanban is not a part of software development lifecycle methodologies. It is actually a framework that is used to implement the agile development process and also DevOps software development process. Now, let us understand why we need Kanban model. The Kanban model allows all the team members who are working in the project to track the progress of the work that is happening in a daily basis. Now, this Kanban board and Kanban cards helps the team members to visually see what is the current status of the work and what is the task that we have completed so far. So that's the need for Kanban model. But what is the importance of Kanban card? Kanban card is something which represents the information about a particular task. Whatever the task that we are currently doing, or whatever the task that has been completed, that task we are going to represent by using Kanban cards. So here, Kanban cards are nothing but sticky notes, where the sticky notes contains the details about the progress of the work or in which phase currently the work is available. So that's the need and importance of a Kanban card. Now, let's see what are the different principles that are available in the Kanban development process. There are three basic principles that are available in the Kanban development. The first one is called as visualizing the workflow, and the second one is called as limiting the work in progress, and the third one is called as continuous measure and improvement of the life cycle. So these are the three different principles of Kanban model. Now let's talk about the first one, which is called as visualizing the workflow. In this case, what we do is we are going to represent the development process of the project in a visual manner by using Kanban cards. So this process is helpful when you work on big projects with multiple subtasks under it. And the second principle is limiting the work in progress. WIP represents work in progress. Suppose, let's say, if you restrict the number of tasks for every phase of your project, you will be able to control the progress of the work, and naturally you will avoid any kind of idleness in the project. That's called as limiting the work in progress. Instead of taking all the works at a time, you are going to limit the works that you need to do on an immediate basis or on regular basis. That's called as limiting the work in progress. And the next one is continuous measure and improvement of the life cycle. Why we need this one is, in a project, there will be multiple people that will be associated with. If you want to measure the continuity of the work and also what kind of improvements that need to be done in order to develop the project, we are going to use this Kanban model. So the use case is the whatever the possible changes that need to be made during the working progress is a distinctive feature of the agile methodology. And because of this feature, we are going to use a continuous improvement of the life cycle of the project. So these are the different principles that are available in the Kanban model. Now, let's see how we can use the Kanban model. We can use the Kanban model in 5 different ways. The first one is whatever the entire project is available, that entire project, we are going to divide it into multiple parts. As we discussed earlier, any project in the Kanban model will be divided into 3 categories. The first category is called as a to-do category. The second one is called as in progress, and the third one is called as a done. So this is where it helps all the team members to identify what is the current status of the project and what are the tasks that we need to do and what are the tasks that have been completed so far. So this gives a visual picture of the progress of the project. So that's the first step of how to use the Kanban. And the second step is limiting the work in progress. Now, once after dividing the entire work into 3 different phases, we are going to limit the works that need to be done in each phase or in the each category. Let's say in the to-do category, I have some 100 tasks that need to be done. Now, instead of working on all the 100 tasks, we are going to limit the number of tasks that need to be performed on a particular day or on any given day. That's called as limiting the work in progress. But here, there is no clear solution that basically allows us to determine how many number of tasks that need to be done for a particular project. It all comes based upon the experience and also based upon the situation that you are working. So if you are having 100 tasks, all these 100 tasks we are not going to do at a time. So we are going to limit the works that need to be done on a daily basis. And the process of limiting the work that need to be done on a daily basis is called as limiting the work in progress. And the third step is creating the Kanban board. Now, as of now, we have divided the project into 3 categories, and we have also identified what are the tasks that need to be done on a daily basis. That's called as limiting work in progress. Now, once we do this, we are going to create the Kanban board. Now, in the Kanban board, what we are going to do is we are going to represent the tasks and stories. What does it mean by tasks and stories? Tasks are nothing but what are the tasks that you need to do. Stories are nothing but what is the current status of the project. So the tasks and stories are basically represented on the Kanban board by using Kanban cards. As I was mentioning, Kanban cards are nothing but the sticky notes. Whatever the current status of the task is there, all the current status of the task will be displayed by using Kanban cards in the 3 categories that we have labeled. So what are the 3 categories that we have labeled? To do category, doing category, or in progress category, and done category. So in each of the category, as I shown you earlier, the Kanban board, we are going to place the current status and also what is the future work that we need to do in order to develop the software project. Now, all the columns has to be labeled in 3 ways. The first one is to do category. The second one is doing category or in progress category. And the last one is done category. Once we complete each task, we are going to move from one column to the other column. So all the tasks that we need to do, we are going to list out in the to-do category. And once we finalize the list of tasks, then we will move some tasks which are in progress into the doing category. Now, whatever the tasks that are completed in the doing category, we will move all those completed tasks into the done category. So like this, we will shift the work process from one category to another category as we progress the project development. Now, Kanban board is updated on a daily basis as per the team meetings that happens. That's called as a Scrum meetings. This Kanban board is very much helpful when you come on the next day, and if you want to identify what is the task for that particular day, Kanban board will give you an idea about the current progress of the project. So here there is one approach which is called as pull approach is used. Pull approach is nothing but, let's say I have completed one task in the doing column. Now, once after we completed the task, we are going to shift the card from the doing column to the done task. Now, as soon as we complete the task from the doing column, whatever the remaining tasks that are available in the to-do column, that card will be pulled into the doing column. So it is like step-by-step process. First, we are going to list out the tasks in the to-do column, and then we will take some of the tasks from the to-do column and we will keep it in the in-progress column. Now, as soon as we finish the work that is available in the in-progress column, we are going to shift the completed tasks to the to-do column. Now, as soon as we complete the works, what we do is whatever the pending works that are available in the to-do column, some part of those works that are available in the to-do column will be shifted to the in-progress column. So that process of shifting the works from one column to the another column or from one category to the another category is called as pull approach. So this is the third step of working with Kanban model, creating the Kanban board. And the next one is, as soon as we start doing the works, it is not sure that every time the work will flow in a smooth way. So we will get some obstacles during the progress of the work. And that process is called as bottlenecks. Bottlenecks is nothing but whenever you are facing any kind of difficulties in a particular step or in a particular task, we need to identify what is the root cause of bottlenecks. But let us understand bottlenecks in a simple way. Bottlenecks are something which will be identified based upon the Kanban board that we have. Bottlenecks are something that helps us to identify what is the problem that a team is facing in the process of developing a project. Since we are adopting the Kanban model, we are going to get the visualized workflow in understanding where actually the problem is available during the development of project. Let's say you are working on a project and your team is facing some problem in order to complete the task that is given to you. Now, what you are going to do is you are going to keep that task as a bottleneck because that task is facing some problem. So as a result of a bottleneck, the problem comes is you will not be able to pull any kind of new task from the previous stage, that is from the to-do stage. So first what we have to do is we have to identify the problem, and once after identifying the problem, we will try to resolve that problem. So you can look at your board whenever any kind of problem comes, and you are going to define what exactly is the problem and in which stage the problem is occurring. And once you define the bottlenecks that are available in the Kanban board, it is easy to resolve the work because the Kanban board is clearly telling you in this particular stage you are facing the difficulty. Now, a team will work together on the bottleneck and they will try to rectify that error. So the Kanban model helps us to identify what are the bottlenecks that are stopping for the progress of project development, and they will also help you to identify the problem and how to resolve the problem as a part of the team. And the next step is optimizing the working progress. Here, we basically use two types of parameters in order to track our working process. The first one is called as a lead time, and the second one is called as cycle time. Now, what will be there in the lead time is it basically tells us how much time it will take to finish the task after it is received from the customer. That's called as a lead time. And the cycle time is nothing but It is the amount of time that is required to complete a certain task after developer started working over it. That's called as lead time and cycle time. Lead time tells us how much time it will take to finish the entire task after it is received from the customer or client. Cycle time is something that represents the required amount of time to complete a specific task. So that's the 5 stages that are available in the Kanban model. Now, let us understand what are the benefits of Kanban model. The first benefit of working with Kanban model is it gives us the flexibility to identify the problems or to identify the progress of the project work. And the second benefit is it will improve the efficiency of the work by identifying and resolving the bottleneck. The third thing is since everything is available in detail on the Kanban board, it allows all the team members the transparency of the work. That means anybody who is working on the project can see what is the current status of the project. And it also helps the team members to focus on the works that are not completed and also to focus on the works that are currently required on an immediate basis. So these are the 4 major benefits of the Kanban model. Now, let us understand the another concept which is called as bottlenecks. Now, to understand the concept of bottlenecks, let me give you one scenario here. The scenario is, let's say you are working in a BPO industry. Now, since you are working in BPO industry, it is quite obvious that you are going to get calls from multiple people. Okay, you are going to get calls from multiple people. And here, let's say that one person is there who is calling you continuously to resolve the issue. Now, when all the calls are coming at a time, you will find it very hard to prioritize which issue has to be resolved. Okay, which issue has to be solved. But all the issues, as a part of a BPO team, it is our duty to resolve the issues, whatever the customers are coming out with. So since you are getting the calls continuously from multiple customers, you will feel fed up. And then this situation is called as bottlenecks. So what is meant by bottleneck? A bottleneck is basically a constraint that slows the delivery of the project or that slows down the delivery of value in our system. Let us see that definition in some time. Now, once you get all the calls or once you fed up with multiple calls that are coming to you, that situation is called as bottlenecks. Now, when this situation comes, you cannot go to your boss and say that I'm going to quit the job. So instead, what you have to do is you need to find an appropriate solution in order to resolve the bottlenecks. So a bottleneck is basically a constraint that slows down the delivery value in our system. So you cannot solve all the problems immediately. So first what we need to do is you need to identify the problem. So technically a problem is basically called as a bottleneck. Now once you identify the bottleneck, you need to prioritize which problem has to be resolved on an immediate basis. Now a bottleneck is basically a work stage that gets more requests than it can process. Okay, if you are getting multiple requests, let's say you are getting some 100 requests to solve an error. Now you cannot work on all the 100 requests. What you can do is you are going to limit the work whatever you want to do. So bottlenecks basically causes an interruption to the flow of work, and sometimes it also delays the production process as well. Now, how can we use bottlenecks in the Kanban model? We can use the bottlenecks in the Kanban model by identifying in which stage of the project the problem is happening. So a bottleneck in an IT industry basically represents the problems that come in the development of a project. That these problems are being raised by the respective team members, which are called as a ticket raising. So we will use different tools for tickets raising, and once you raise the ticket, the respective team member will work on it. It basically a backlog of an unstarted work or work in progress. So here tickets will be waiting for your review in order to resolve the issues. So that's the process of bottlenecks. Now, how can we handle the bottlenecks here? In order to handle the bottlenecks, we are going to use 4 simple steps. The first step is let's identify what are the common causes of bottlenecks. Now, once you identify the causes of the bottlenecks, we will try to resolve the causes. Now, if more and more tickets are being raised up, what we do is we will set the work in progress limits. So we are not going to solve all the tickets at a time. So we have to prioritize based upon the needs. That's called as set work in progress limits. Now, once you prioritize the task, what we need to do is we are going to manage the bottlenecks by using the concept of Kanban model. So this is how we can work with the concept of bottlenecks. To summarize the concept, we have seen what is meant by the Kanban model. Kanban model is basically a visual representation of the progress of the work. And bottleneck is something which is a problem that arises during the progress of the work. So this is all about this particular video. In the next video, we will talk about other concept that is available in the first unit. Thank you.